SITREP World Briefing for July 25, 2026. Yemen's Houthi movement said it launched a missile attack on Jizan in southwestern Saudi Arabia, marking an expansion of hostilities beyond the Red Sea corridor and back onto Saudi territory. The Iran-backed group framed the strike as part of a regional confrontation linked to the U.S.-Israeli campaign against Iran, while subsequent reports said Saudi forces responded by striking Houthi military targets, turning the exchange into a direct Saudi-Houthi front. The clash around Jizan is significant because the city sits near the Saudi-Yemen border, an area that was repeatedly hit during earlier phases of the Yemen war before Riyadh and the Houthis moved into a more tentative period of de-escalation. The renewed exchange came after the Houthis announced a maritime blockade targeting Saudi oil exports through the Red Sea, and after the group accused Riyadh of an escalation. That sequence has raised the prospect that a conflict once centered on Yemen's civil war and Red Sea shipping lanes could again threaten Saudi infrastructure, border cities, and regional energy routes. Violence near Tel, in the occupied West Bank, left 4 Palestinians and 2 Israelis dead after a confrontation involving Israeli settlers, Palestinian villagers, and Israeli forces spiraled into a deadly exchange. Palestinian accounts said villagers came under attack by settlers, while the Israeli military said a Palestinian seized a weapon and opened fire on Israeli hikers. By the following day, funerals for the 4 Palestinians were being held as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the military to act with force after the killings. Netanyahu said he had instructed the Israel Defense Forces to take firm or full force action, and he coupled the security response with orders to accelerate the legalization of existing outposts and the establishment of new ones around the area of Tel. The political significance extends beyond a single village. Settler violence, Palestinian attacks, military raids, and disputes over outposts have made the northern West Bank one of the most combustible arenas in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Iran said it launched retaliatory strikes against U.S. military bases and assets in Bahrain, Jordan, and Kuwait after American forces carried out fresh attacks inside Iran. Tehran's military declared that any facility in the Middle East used by the United States to launch attacks on Iran would be considered a legitimate target, broadening the confrontation from direct U.S.-Iran exchanges into a regional theater that includes several Arab states hosting American troops. Bahrain hosts the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, while Jordan and Kuwait have long served as hubs for logistics, air operations, and force deployment. India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan resigned on Saturday after mass protests over exam paper leaks escalated into a broader political challenge for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. Demonstrators had been demanding Pradhan's dismissal for days, and a second round of talks between protest leaders and the government ended without a breakthrough. The resignation marks a rare concession by New Delhi on an issue that touches millions of students and families, because competitive exams in India are a gatekeeper for university admissions, government jobs, and social mobility. Public trust in the country's testing system has been affected by repeated allegations of leaked papers and compromised examinations. For Modi's administration, the dispute is politically sensitive because examinations are a central test of state capacity and fairness. When papers leak, students can lose a year of preparation, and unrest can quickly spread from campuses into national politics. Pradhan's departure may ease immediate pressure in New Delhi, but the government now faces demands to restore credibility through stronger security, clearer accountability, and a convincing overhaul of how major exams are administered. Wildfires spread across southwest France on Friday and Saturday, pushing toward Bordeaux and prompting French authorities to order evacuations in affected areas. Fire conditions were worsened by extremely high winds and dry terrain, a combination that helped flames move quickly through vegetation and forced emergency services to focus on protecting residents, tourist zones, and transport links near one of France's regional cities. The fires near Bordeaux unfolded as blazes also raged across Spain, where the government declared a national emergency. In southwest France, the immediate operational problem was not only heat, but wind, because gusts can change fire direction rapidly, drive embers ahead of the main front, and make containment lines less effective even when firefighters respond quickly. For Bordeaux and the surrounding southwest, wildfire risk carries particular weight because the area combines forests, farms, vineyards, holiday traffic, and dispersed communities that can be hard to clear quickly once a fire front advances. Evacuations are therefore a major civil protection measure, and they reflect concern that dry fuel and strong winds could push fires closer to populated zones. Scientists and public health officials warned this week that extreme heat is intensifying multiple hazards across Europe at the same time, drying out water supplies, raising wildfire danger, and worsening health risks. Researchers said climate change is exacerbating drought as unusually high temperatures accelerate evaporation, while the World Health Organization warned that wildfires across the region have risen sharply over the past 4 years. The immediate economic effects are also widening. Scientists said low water levels are already disrupting shipping, farming, and industry, a pattern that matters far beyond any single river basin, because Europe depends on inland waterways, irrigated agriculture, and stable hydropower and cooling water supplies during summer peaks in demand. At the same time, the WHO warning that wildfires are up 57% in 4 years points to a sustained increase in exposure for communities, emergency services, and health systems. France has offered one of the clearest signs of the human cost from this summer's heat, with authorities linking the record June heatwave to unusually high mortality and describing the excess death pattern as unprecedented. That French toll fits the broader European warning from health officials that extreme heat and wildfire smoke are no longer isolated environmental problems, but major public health threats that can hit older adults, workers, and vulnerable households especially hard. The convergence of drought, fire risk, and mortality is likely to intensify pressure on governments to expand heat alerts, water management, and fire prevention measures. Sources and the full written briefing are available at sitrepbrief.com.